Welcome back to another eye-opening look at what's really happening in the world today. As always, let me know if you're still a human being by commenting in the comment section below. But now let's head on down that rabbit hole.
Okay, wait. Diddy's lawyers just sent out a 72-question survey to potential jurors. And some of the questions are absolutely wild. They're asking people stuff like, how do you feel about sex, drugs, violence, and even if they've ever watched explicit adult content? Okay, some people think that might make sense because the case might get graphic and the jurors need to be prepared. But others think it might be a way of only picking jurors who are more likely to side with Diddy. Now, I don't know. I'm just watching this all unfold like you. Trial hasn't even started yet and it's already crazy. So what do we think? Smart legal prep or low-key jury tampering? Okay, guys, you know I love to hear your comments. Do you think this is good? Do you think this is something they should be asking potential jurors? Is this a little bit sneaky, a little bit shady? Or is it sensible legal prep? Get in the comments, let's have a discussion.
72 questions? That seems excessive. The questions themselves are also questionable. Jury selection is, well, it's very crucial. However, it definitely seems like they are cherry picking here. Man, dolphins don't deserve to be trapped in glass cages like this. They are clearly bored and more intelligent than we are led to believe. Why else would the CIA fund projects and research into communicating with them back in the day? This isn't just edgy art and aesthetics anymore. This type of imagery and behavior is slowly making its way into every aspect of our existence. Or perhaps it was always there subtly and we are now just starting to slowly see the veil slip and realize we've been a part of some sort of mass ritual for our entire lives. Every concert, every movie, every public event. Just a thought.
It looks like a basement. It looks like where they keep things that were not public display in the museum. We were in tunnels. There's trains, there's buses, there is every means of transportation under the ground.
Who goes down there?
Celebrities, actors.
You just heard what she said. Under the Getty Museum. Not a club, not a mansion, a museum. If what she's saying is true, this isn't just about elite parties. This is about what happens when the public turns a blind eye. Just ask yourself this. Why are so many whistleblowers discredited before anyone actually checks the facts? This woman claims to be Tupac's daughter. Whether you believe it or not, listen to what she's describing. Secret tunnels, powerful people, and no one ever held accountable. Remember what Dave Chappelle said? The worst thing to call someone is crazy. Hit follow if you've noticed the cracks in the surface, because the truth is leaking through.
There is likely something happening underground everywhere you go, from this type of heinous activity to DUMBS's infrastructure to military operations and maybe even entire cities beneath the surface.
Can we move the established date of civilization now back from 6,000 years ago to 12,000 years ago? Well, no. I always like to look at the edits page, like who's been making edits on Wikipedia pages, because you'll find a lot of academics.
There's a lot of fuckery on Wikipedia.
There is. Oh, yeah.
They just changed the definition of a recession like a couple weeks ago.
Yep, recession got changed. So one thing that was changed on the back of this Göbekli Tepe discussion was now the definition of hunter-gatherers. So instead of saying, well, this is civilization, this was done by hunter-gatherers who just like to do some stonework on the weekends, get away from the wife and the kids and just make a hobby out of making stone circles. So instead of moving that entrenched date of civilization back, they're just like, nope, this was done by hunter-gatherers. They were just bored and they had all this time on their hands, so they developed an advanced form of stoneworking and large communities to do it. It's so silly.
Göbekli Tepe's age challenges our entire view of civilization because it predates what the mainstream communities have believed to be the truth. Did you see the Graham Hancock series Ancient Apocalypse? It's a very compelling watch. And of course, now it's time to check out some videos where we take a closer look at what's been happening in our skies, all the strange occurrences, and maybe some UAP clips too.
Each UAP class has different characteristics. Some shimmer, some tumble, some spin, some...
Okay. This one looks like a classic flying saucer. This first one, if this is the Tetra, reminds me of the gimbal video. But I thought the gimbal video was filmed during the Tic Tac incident. I don't know.
look like they're alive.
They look like they're alive.
Glass has different characteristics. Some shimmer, some tumble, some...
That's clearly got edges to it. That's pretty wild.
spin, some...
See, this could be something it's either shape-shifting, transforming. It's clearly like a color, but this thing is rotating and moving. It really reminds me of the gimbal.
look like they're alive and they just fly like living up.
That is the jellyfish, apparently, or a hornet.
It's in the sky. UAPs are extremely hard to image. What is seen with the naked eye is generally not what is seen under camera. The class 1 often spins, tumbles through the sky. Craft looks like a black body. It appears to flash, pull.
This is the Tetra, huh? Okay, so this has a black body.
Multiple times per second. There appears to be some kind of
Cloud around it. This Tetra does look like the gimbal. This is like classic flying saucer.
Cloud or vapor around it. We've seen class 1s and formations up to
Classic flying saucer. See the vapor? It's almost like a bubble. Some kind of an energetic trail or radiation around these things. But that's classic flying saucer. If this is a Tetra, then maybe what we're seeing and we're thinking as flying saucers is actually just it flying in a strange way. Like instead of it flying nose forward like traditional aircraft, these things don't have to do that. Like remember in the Tic Tac incident, Commander Fravor described this thing flying up strangely, like it was able to keep its nose pointed at him, almost like a Harrier jet or a helicopter could fly up in a circle like a drone. But this thing could be, maybe it's flying, but it's the cone of the Tetra of the point is pointed at you, so it looks like a saucer shaped. I don't know.
We're seeing more UAP clips than ever just come to the surface and make it into the public domain. It seems like there has been a massive shift in what people believe to be happening when it comes to UAPs. Some people believe every sighting is man-made, black budget operations, while others believe that only a fraction are actually ours. So that leads me to ask you, what do you believe? I am genuinely curious about this one.
Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this Earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
That's a tremendous...
So there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Well, Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
Byrd's claim of an unexplored area the size of the US in Antarctica is wild and something I have never really fully explored further myself. The Admiral's secret diary making these claims about lush lands in Antarctica are very compelling too. Could he be telling the truth about what he saw with his own eyes? Or is this another test of the public to keep speculation alive?
Entirely new form of flight, tangential flight, the ability to fly around your own center of mass, something they've never been able to accomplish with just 6 props. But this was low-hanging fruit from the linchpin. I wasn't trying to build flight vehicles. I was just trying to prove, I was like, if this is the fractal, I said we should be able to put props in those pentagonal areas and it should have tangential flight.
Right.
And the drone community hated me. They were like, how dare you hit us with something like this? And even though I made a gift for $25,000, a reward for anybody that was able to build the flight simulator with this, they were like, there were people that were saying, it's not possible to accomplish that. And within 2 weeks, we had it done.
Yeah.
By putting it out into the universe. And now these 5, so this is the end of cranes, or this will be able to greatly assist in how we do construction and lifting and bringing things home. And they're all autonomous.
Tangential flight? Howard's claims lack the backing from the scientific communities and the drone communities alike, yet he offered $25,000 for a simulator. Is it innovation or just another Hollywood hype? The logic behind his claims is there to a degree, but don't know if enough is there to comment on exactly if this is physically possible in the real world. What are your thoughts? A massive thank you to my amazing channel members. Honestly, without you guys, this channel just would not exist. So you're not only helping me, but you're helping everybody who enjoys watching this. If you're interested in showing your own support, you can click the link in the description below and you'll find all the perks which come with joining the channel membership there too. Cheers.
The biggest downfalls in music history. Jaden Smith. After becoming famous for his role in The Karate Kid in 2011, Jaden Smith launched his music career. He first appeared on the track Never Say Never with Justin Bieber. The song blew up worldwide, 5-time platinum and over 1 billion views on YouTube. In 2017, he went solo and dropped his first album, Sire. The single Icon was a massive hit too. Over 190 million views, 400 million streams. Jaden was finally recognized as a real artist. But after that, he started making mistakes that ruined everything. He began tweeting that he was the greatest philosopher of all time. His ego blew up. He thought he had this incredible aura, but instead, he became more like the clown of the internet. Then, a family scandal broke out. It was revealed that his mom had cheated on his dad with one of his best friends. Not long after, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock live on air in front of millions. In just a few hours, the Smith family went from Hollywood's most loved to the most mocked on social media. Today, Jaden is still struggling with it all. No one takes him seriously anymore. His numbers have crashed. He can still live off music, but there's no buzz left. In just 5 years, he went from rising artist to a Twitter and TikTok meme.
Yeah, well, fame's a fickle beast. These Hollywood kids born into famous families usually don't stand a chance of living a normal life and finding their own way. From the moment they step out of the doorway, they are under public scrutiny. So how can you expect a normal life?
Dude, the Black Pearl?
Oh, yes. I don't know anything about it. What's up?
The whole reason that Jack Sparrow's ship was black. There's this whole scene where they give that backstory. Apparently, Jack Sparrow worked for the East India Trading Company. The Black Pearl was given to him under contract from Beckett to be running goods from these places. Well, he goes on one of these assignments to pick up cargo. He gets there and it's slaves. He frees them all. Beckett catches up and lights the ship on fire. It burns down. In the deleted scene, Jack Sparrow's line, he said, "People aren't cargo." It's like this epic backstory.
So they burnt the Black Pearl, and then he made a deal
He had
with
to make a
Davy
deal
Jones
to bring it back.
And
that's
why
why
the Black Pearl, because it was burnt.
And that's why also people are terrified when they see the Black Pearl, because it shouldn't exist.
It shouldn't be there.
It's awesome. Why would you delete that? That's the best.
Yeah.
It's way cooler.
If that was established in the first movie, or even that was the twist at the end,
flashback
if that was the end of like the whole series.
But it answers so much too. Like, why is this pirate this insanely moral person?
Interesting. I've never actually watched the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, so I personally don't have an opinion on them. But would this scene change anything for you in your opinion on these stories?
Predictive policing software. You guys are involved in that.
We don't do predictive policing. It's widely believed publicly we do, but we don't. And it has probably the most scary name possible. I think a better way of thinking about it is it's about resource allocation. Where should I preposition police to deter violence? We look at the historic data. We see there's a lot of stabbings at this Jack in the Box at 2 a.m. on weekends when the temperature is pleasant enough for people to be outside roaming around. Make the presence known, deter any bad actors and behavior. That's been effective. I think the branding of it has been really detrimental, but there is a clear correlation between the presence of policing and deterring violence. The other aspect of it too is just understanding, particularly with gang violence, it's usually a cycle of retribution. This person got killed. Okay, well, the family of the person that got killed, their gang knows who did it. There's going to be retaliation. So if you can figure out ahead of time these relationships, you can have presence there to suppress the ability for retaliation to happen without consequence, which then hopefully gives time and space to quiet down the violence.
I can't even mention here on the channel the types of predictive policing methods that are being implemented here in the United Kingdom right now out of fear of being targeted myself. I'll just leave it on that note. Predictive policing is going to become the primary objective of all law enforcement eventually, and it will be very invasive, and it will always be about control rather than public safety.
At some point, there was a war between giants and Native Americans, and they don't want you to know about it. Watch this.
The Redhead cannibal giants made their last stand inside this cave after a 3-year war with the Paiute Indians. The Indians threw brush and sticks down into the cave and lit a great fire. Evidence of the fire all over the ceiling.
There's actual evidence that this happened.
Of flames. The last of the red-headed cannibal giants went down to this location, the very base of the cave, where there was some oxygen remaining. Some tried to escape up this crevasse, but the Indians shot them with bows and arrows and hit them with clubs as they exited. None of them survived, according to Sarah Winnemucca. Some of the last women and children huddled down here.
I know this kind of sounds made up, but there are multiple Native American tribes that speak on giant redheads inhabiting North America long ago. As always, let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Stay weird.
I have actually heard this story a few times over the years, and now backed with what appears to be evidence of the event taking place. That is very interesting. It offers a new perspective on giants and their existence.
Chrysler used to build cars and missiles. Ford built satellites until 1990. General Mills, the cereal company, built torpedoes and inertial guidance systems in their mechanics division. Everything they learned about building machinery to process cereal, they were able to leverage in the service of national security to make our warfighters more lethal. And what happened was that over time, the government became such a difficult buyer to work with. All sorts of esoteric rules that only matter for the government, all sorts of auditing, all sorts of bureaucracy, that people tried to figure out how to exit that business. That started in the 70s. Boardrooms started talking about it. It accelerated in the 80s. And then when the Last Supper happened in 1993, there was this dinner in the Pentagon. We used to have 51 major defense primes. The 15 largest together, they had a dinner and they said, we need a peace dividend. We've won the Cold War. We're going to slash defense spending. So for every dollar we used to spend, we're going to spend 33 cents. And it's going to happen all at once. You guys are not all going to survive. You have our permission to consolidate, to merge, to try to find commercial lines of business, like do what you need to do. And we let that happen until 1999 when we blocked the merger of Lockheed and Northrop. We said, okay, this is too much. So we went from 51 down to 5. The popular narrative is this is when we lost competition in the industrial base. That definitely happened, but I don't think it's the dominant problem. The dominant dominant problem is you lost to consolidation-bred conformity.
From serial to torpedoes and then conformity. Defense consolidation's impact on innovation and security deserves deeper scrutiny. This move was likely down to profits and profits only.
A felt hat, a fedora, hung from a string right below the falls at Mother Shipton in England, where it's noted that the water is highly mineralized. This turned to stone, literally. It's not just coated, it is permineralized. And you may want to look up that term on the internet to get a working definition. Permineralized, and yet we see dinosaur bones that are also permineralized like this vertebrae. Now, the hat, that only took 2 years. So how long did this dinosaur vertebrae take to permineralize? According to evolution, some species of animals and plants never changed over hundreds of millions of years. This is a palm's frond. Now, what's interesting is, and I'm going to show you the fossil equivalent, there is no change between the two of them. I mean, do you see a change? With the model of a worldwide flood, these wouldn't be any more than 4,500 years. So of course there's not going to be a lot of change. But 200 million years of no change? What makes more sense? That there was no change in these in 4,500 years or 200 million years?
This does raise questions about the evolutionary timelines we are told to believe. However, we do have evidence of evolution in other organisms and fossils from the same period. What do you guys think about this one? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
The Grand Canyon is not only for tourists or American sightseeing location. There are secrets that lie within. Some of them encountered a gateway into what we call a hidden world. Year 1909, known as the Arizona Gazette, published an article about an expedition, and that is funded by the Smithsonian and was led by G.E. Kincaid. Kincaid discovered ancient underground within the Grand Canyon. This underground city was covered with artifacts, and that's from ancient Egypt, including hieroglyphs, statues, and even pyramids. How Egyptian relics end up in Arizona over 5,000 years ago? Is it possible that they had a flight tech? And what's weird is, Smithsonians seized all the artifacts and shut down any further exploration that led 90% of Grand Canyon being restricted until this day. The Grand Canyon is a home to what we call hidden caves, and even there's a lot of tunnels, even holding ancient treasures and tech. And many adventurers on that area used to report seeing strange lights and sounds that are coming from the depths of the Grand Canyon. The native people named that place Sipapu and believed to be gateways to the underworld that holds powerful energies that should never be disturbed. What else is hiding in the Grand Canyon? Let me know your thoughts. Assalamu alaikum.
There are more mysteries in the Grand Canyon than there are in the Great Pyramids at this moment in time.
Twin solar filaments have erupted while crossing the Earth strike zone, launching dense plasma in our direction. Though the eruptions appear slow-moving, their density suggests they could hit with real impact. Arrival is expected late April 15th or early April 16th. The larger of the two filaments stretched across the southeast section of the Sun before erupting around 22:35 UTC on April 12th. It triggered what appears to be a coronal mass ejection. We're waiting for updated coronagraph data to confirm the full scope and speed. In the middle of this, something else showed up near the Sun. A solid white object, caught on coronagraph footage, moved past at a steady speed with retrograde motion. It's not a known planet. It's not Chiron. It's not following a typical orbital path. And no, it's not a comet either. So the question has to be asked, are we looking at a UFO? To add more heat to the situation, a comet slammed into the Sun the same day. That's 2 sun divers this week alone. Right now, we're tracking a possible geomagnetic storm. If these filaments hold their course and impact Earth's magnetic field, expect possible auroras and disruptions to communications and satellite systems. We'll keep watching. And if that object wasn't natural, we'll be the first to say it.
sundivers and rogue objects? Is something big happening? Geomagnetic storms could disrupt everything. We have seen it before multiple times. It makes me worry about more adverse weather on the way for some countries, to be honest with you.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is this a fair way to couch this? That the Crusades and the Templars' involvement in Crusades of capturing the Holy Land and establishing really which was a base of operations so that they could go throughout the region to round up some of this ancient knowledge, this ancient information. Is that pretty much the story?
Yeah, while Crusaders were busy trying to fight for the Holy Land and taking over territory, Templars were more concerned with digging for artifacts.
So what it sounds like to me is the Templars had a mission even before the Crusades. They knew this stuff was there. How did they get that information? Did it trickle down all the way from the time of Atlantis?
Well, it did. You have to remember that the Templars largely came out of Albigensian families in southern France, which were a Gnostic sect. So they already had ideas that were contrary to the popular establishments of the time.
You mean of the Roman Catholic Church?
Roman Catholic Church and the monarchies.
Right.
They were very democratic and they were open to spiritual ideas in which the individual was empowered. This allowed them to go out and try to seek out other communities that had these views. In particular, there was a tradition that caused the Templars to travel to Constantinople to meet with a group there that was known as the Brothers of the East. This particular group in Constantinople had originally come from Greece, had been established in 1057, and they set themselves up in an area that was known as the Church of St. Sergius and Bacchus, which was a building designed by an alchemist in which the Pythagorean and other ideas were incorporated into it, Gnostic ideas.
Sacred geometry?
Sacred geometry, absolutely.
Templars, were they just holy warriors or seekers of forbidden knowledge? This has been the subject of many debates. Their pre-Crusade agenda, if true, challenges the history that we are all told about.
You are a powerful creator. So if you don't like this reality you're in, why don't you change it? The simplest way to do that is find something that you're grateful for. You're not a quadriplegic. Nobody's looking after you or pushing you around or feeding you. Can't you be grateful for the fact that you can get up and walk and other people can't? Find something you're grateful for. But we never think in those terms. That will raise your frequency. And watch how your life will change, little by little. You're creating the change in your life. What's holding you back? Why aren't you doing it? Are you happy in this low vibration where you're anxious and depressed and you live in a world of lack and need? Is that where you want to be? So be it. It's up to you.
Gratitude's power is limitless. It can reshape reality when you start to appreciate the little things in life. You start to realize you have things to be grateful for and then things to be sorry about.
It's time to talk about Ben Affleck and his children, man. Seriously. But first, dude, we got to discuss this right here, man. What's going on in Hollywood? What's her name? Selena, the Wednesday Addams girl. Yeah, look at her, man. This was not what she looked like whatsoever, and I want to know how she looks like this now. I mean, really and truly, man, a lot of people are saying it's not even the same person. Like, I'm not saying it is, you know what I'm saying, fact checkers, but I'm just saying there is always that possibility that it's not the same person. And then all this ties back in, dude, to this green milk right here. You ever seen this kind of milk before? Oh, no, really and truly. Look at this right here. Are you seeing this right here, dude? Look, blue one. What? Not to mention the sugars, man. My question is, what's up with all this sugar that's in milk? Why are y'all doing that? I highly doubt Miss Jenna Ortega is eating that. Yeah, I knew her name the whole time, which I'm sure all y'all have already commented by now saying, oh, that was not Selena Gomez or something like that. Anyways, really and truly is wild, man, you know?
Did I miss a link here on this video? Why did I just see Minecraft milk? Is that a real thing? This is not to offend anyone, but America will literally put anything on their shelves and sell it. As for the lady featured in this video, or lady, should I say, people are really pushing this celebrity replacement theory hard. There is a stark difference in her appearance, but could it just be makeup or weight gain or even some plastic surgery? There are a lot of potential factors to consider with this.
You were the one that had the diaper on, right, Vivi? Yeah. Okay, and then you still have your pull-up on? Okay, cool. All right.
You got one on too?
They find children scattered all over the house. Some of them are naked, some of them are only wearing a diaper. They also find some of the children locked in their bedrooms. The rooms are completely filthy. There are clothes and rubbish stacked everywhere. Everything is cluttered and dirty and unkept. It smelt. The children also looked incredibly malnourished. They just looked ill. There was dark circles under their eyes. They just looked gaunt. All of the children stated that they were very hungry, very thirsty.
How old are you? Are you thirsty?
And one of the officers actually took one of the children into the pantry and said to the child, "What do you want? Like, you can eat something. Like, what do you want to eat?"
You're safe right now, okay? So we're gonna protect you. Is there anything in here that you want to eat right now while we're waiting? Seriously, anything. Look, you got some chips.
And this poor girl was absolutely terrified, stood in this pantry, and she kept saying, "No, no, 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 I'm not allowed to eat. My mom will smell it on my breath."
No, listen, don't worry about that. No, she's not. No, she's not. No, she's not. You are not going to talk to mom right now.
The officers also found cans and cans of pepper spray. They found the green screen room where the children were kept isolated. And they also found piles of cash. Literally whole piles of $100 bills. Don't ask me why she has piles of money in her house. I don't know, but it just shows you how much money she has. However, instead of arresting Michelle straight away, which I'm like, why? Just arrest her. The officers do remove all of the children from the home and they take them in for an interview. And you can see some of this interview footage online and it's just truly, truly heartbreaking. Again, their faces are blurred, but you can see their bodies, you can see their body language, you can tell how terrified they are, you can see how skinny they are.
We have to clean, we have to make her food, we have to do everything for her. And every time we get in trouble, she hurts us.
They are so hesitant to answer questions, which I don't blame them because they don't trust the police. They don't trust any authoritative figure. You can also see the blind girl walking into the room as well with her guide dog.
And you can have a seat in that chair over there, okay? Aww. And Pilot will just lay next to us over here, okay?
But one by one, all of these children, they are so brave. They open up about what has happened to them, the conditions that they are living in, the abuse.
I truly hope there was justice for these kids. How awful it is to hear a child cry out of fear their mother will find out that they have eaten something because they were starving. This world is not a kind place for our kids.
In a world first, scientists have unlocked a new sense for computers: scent. Robots now know how to smell. Essentially, the teleportation of scent. We've already successfully digitized our senses of sight and sound by turning what we see into digital form, like JPEGs, what we hear into MP3s, and putting it all together into videos, like this one right here. Capturing our real-life visual and auditory senses and turning them into ones and zeros that computers can understand. That's what it means to digitize something. Big surprise, I'm not actually inside of your phone, but I've digitized an audio-visual representation of myself so that I can, in essence, teleport my appearance and my voice to devices like yours around the world. Osmo Labs adds a whole new dimension to how we communicate and interact with anything online by adding our sense of smell into the mix. The researchers took purple peaches, also known as a plum, mashed it up and captured its scent molecules inside of a vial. A machine then sucked the air out of this vial and used AI to analyze those molecules and map out its scent profile on a molecular level. Using this blueprint, they can print this scent anywhere in the world as a clear liquid that smells exactly like a plum. Officially giving computers a new sense and allowing us to teleport smells on top of images, video, and audio over the internet. And I think we can all see how things are going to end up when we can start smelling our messages in the group chat. Other than that, there are still some pretty mind-blowing applications for this. We'd be able to digitally store a library of our favorite scents that we can access at any time. The luxury fragrance industry would likely go out of business, as we'd be able to perfectly clone every designer cologne and perfume that exists. Virtual reality would add an extra level of immersion into their worlds, bringing us one step closer to perfect simulations and fulfilling simulation theory. And above all, computers will now have a new sense that they're able to experience, letting us know how good or bad we smell, and combined with generative AI, we may even be able to create our very own sense from scratch with a couple of text prompts.
Digitized scents. That's new, but also a little unsettling. Now, please don't send me any emails or Discord messages with digitized smells on them, Thank you all in advance. However, there will likely be limitations to this, and it is also very likely to be in its early stages and nowhere near ready for commercial access yet. I'm hoping that there will be safeguards and limitations to protect, well, us, but you can assure that there will be limitations to protect big perfume profits, and they will probably have the monopoly on this market before it reaches the public. We are not ready for smell-based ads and VR addictions.
Leonardo da Vinci, letters exchanged with friends, usually mentioned piety for animals. He was a vegetarian, of course, and it is said that he bought birds at the market only to set them free. As a good Neoplatonist, da Vinci assumed that killing animals just to satisfy one's desires for flesh was absurd. It attests to the incapability of having control over the senses. Plato called this kind of behavior tyranny of the senses. When the intellect learns that something is morally wrong, but the physical body ignores this principle in the name of its satisfaction. Plato in the Republic urged that the upper classes should abstain from eating meat. Porphyry, in his book Abstinence from Animal Food, they burned his books in the 3rd century. Porphyry said the concept of justice should be extended to animals, as justice in this case means not to commit unnecessary murder. Marsilio Ficino, the Renaissance master, he argued that a vegetarian diet could help a person elevate consciousness and purify the body. He encouraged his followers to become vegetarians and abstain from anything that could enslave the senses, such as the kind of bodily pleasures that could dominate the mind. Plutarch, in his tractate on the eating of flesh, he argued that people are not naturally carnivorous, but gluttony makes them cruel. Allowing animal slaughter unnecessarily only indicates that men are being dominated by their bodies, and when the bodily instincts take over, men are usually corrupted. So the only reason why people do not want to give up eating animals is because eating flesh pleases the senses. A true philosopher must be above the senses and must not allow the instincts to overshadow principles.
This is the exact reason why I'm telling you we are electrical beings. This is why you gotta look at the food you're eating. You don't want to be eating dead fucking nutrition. You don't want to be eating dead animals. I'm fucking telling you right now, you're being lied to. Oh, I went vegan and I failed. Look, I'm telling you, you need minerals and you need H3O2, which is found in fruit. If you really want to understand what you are, where we are, this book literally will unveil that to you.
Da Vinci's compassion is compelling, and like many prominent historical figures like him, he was also a vegetarian. I find that pattern very interesting, though I'm not a vegetarian myself, but mixing historical vegetarianism and with claims about electrical beings raises more questions than answers. I have mixed opinions about veganism. It is pushed so hard by the mainstream outlets that I struggle to see where the benefits of veganism begin and the propaganda and push for meat alternatives begins. What do you guys think?
These celebrities are trying to tell you you have to sell your soul to be famous. Watch this.
The goal is to be famous, then you're going to do a lot to get there, like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil.
This industry is not what it seems to be. I bet you there's rappers in here right now that can rap way better than you. You can rap way better than me.
He's telling y'all.
Because this industry is rigged. You have to go see this person and sit down and talk to them. You have to go and do this. You're a puppy.
Hollywood Records contract, and I'm signing it. I have my first record ever and selling my soul to Hollywood Records.
It doesn't get any more blatant than that.
Well, I've been telling you I haven't been the same since I've realized something about myself. It's dangerous. It's only practice with Mino. What it means, what does the checkerboard mean? It means mind control. So you got classical conditioning, you got operational conditioning. So what they do is they use programming. So MK Ultra, yeah, but it's to push an agenda.
A lot of these celebrities in this clip are blackballed from the industry for saying these things. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay weird.
So is the price of fame a deal with the devil, or is it a metaphor? That's what many people believe, and that is what many people in the Hollywood industry have alluded to. But what do you guys believe?
Stepping away from ghosts, we focus on a more disturbing reality. Kung Fu fighting robots. Sounds crazy, I know, but take a good look at the clip playing. Is there any other way to describe this? For some weird reason, the trainers aren't bothered. After everything we've seen in literature and real life concerning AI and robots, you'd think we'd be a bit careful, but no, we're teaching them all we know. Don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-robot and AI, but I do believe there should be some strict regulations in place. Looks like it's just a few of us who think that, though. If things keep progressing at the current rate at which they're progressing, it won't be too long before we create something we don't have any control over.
Well, AI martial arts is rather unnerving, impressive, yet incredibly unsettling. Regulation is key with this one, though the only reason we have things like this in the first place is for technological superiority in warfare, so I guess regulations don't matter if it's being used to eliminate opposition in war, right? Well, that was one of the most ridiculous things I've seen on the internet for a while.
Here we go again.
Yeah. There goes the house. Trying to sleep. Wow. Time ticks by. Still I try.
I don't know, guys. Starting to see some correlations here. And this just happened not too long ago. This was the Ohio River on Monday. It's what it normally looks like. Something's up, Doug. In the next 20 years, Louisville metro area? Put it together, people. Put it together. You're really starting to become probably going to get worse from here on out.
Smart cities and floods. We are seeing the pattern repeated again and again. 2024 saw $100 billion plus in global flood damage. This year, we are likely to see this number increase again tenfold. I don't believe in coincidences.
Forest is for rest. You are electromagnetic. Disease shows in your energy field before it shows up in your physical body. Illness vibrates on a low frequency. If you are low frequency with the food and the thoughts and emotions you feel, your energy will then match the low frequency where illness exists. But if you raise your vibration of your energy, positive thoughts, good emotions, and healthy food, you will not vibrate on the same frequency as illness. You will never become sick. You are an energetic being. Everything exists as a vibration. Trees emit high energy. Forest is for rest because it neutralizes and balances your energy. Plus, looking at all the different color spectrums in nature is very healing for your eyes. Everything is made lifeless for a reason. Lower your frequency and dull your mind.
Energy fields as medicine. Science is skeptical as always, yet lifestyle's impact on health is undeniable and proven. Are we ignoring something vital by dismissing it all because we are told pharmaceuticals are the most powerful and convenient remedies we can take? Probably.
The Vimana, ancient flying fortresses. Many of these temples in India, now turned to stone, still display the technology of our lost past, the unmistakable resemblance to technology that we use today to achieve flight. Just look at the intricate detail. Those were all made for a reason. They were not carved by an ancient civilization with hammer and chisel. Just look at the striking resemblance to the technology we use today. And these pillars, many of them aligned with smaller and larger pillars, forming perfect gear ratios, just like our heavy machines today have. There is truly nothing new under the sun. especially with our technology, just borrowed and repurposed technology from the old world. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Oh boy, another classic case of is it real or is it pareidolia? Sometimes we see what we want to see, though I absolutely believe these structures were not simply built to be eye candy.
Is our tap water safe? RFK Jr., as Secretary of Health and Human Services, has called to get all fluoride out of the tap water by May 7th. He said he's doing this because it's a dangerous neurotoxin. First, what is fluoride? Well, it's a naturally occurring mineral. But what are we putting in our water in the United States? Basically a synthetic version. It's a processed industrial grade compound. Why do we put it in our tap water across the United States? Because we believe that it helps prevent tooth decay. Which is interesting all in itself because the United States allows more highly processed sugar candies than any other country in the world. We know that definitely contributes to tooth decay. Countries with the best tooth health are Denmark and Sweden, and guess what? They do not fluorinate their water. New York Times put out an article this morning that's saying taking the fluoride out of our water is bad, which is ironic because in January, they published a report linking fluoride to lower IQs in children. Here's a clip from the article here. Look at the United States and how it stacks up to other countries when it comes to health around the world. We rank 35th. And the top 5 countries, Spain, Italy, Iceland, Japan, and Switzerland, ironically, none of those countries fluorinate their water. Now, I'm not saying that this is the issue, but maybe we should follow what they are doing. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Fluoride, tooth decay fighter, or neurotoxin? RFK Jr.'s stance and conflicting NYT reports raise eyebrows. Who is right on this one? Apparent studies have been conducted proving fluoride to be a positive asset to the water. However, other studies provide an opposing argument. Now, it's important to look at who is funding these studies before making up your mind.
This will wow you. This vase that is pre-dynastic, what they've done is they've taken this and put this in a machine, and it's within 3/1000ths of an inch of being basically perfectly flat. Wow.
3/1000ths of an inch.
3/1000ths of an inch. This puts the whole concept of can these even remotely been made by hand to bed? Like these things had to have been made on a machine and made with extreme precision because
it's virtual perfection.
Wow. Ancient Egyptians were surprisingly and impossibly precise with their crafts and their structures. This vase's near perfect roundness challenges everything we know about their craftsmanship and the use of basic tools to craft such items. This is one of the most compelling arguments for me as to whether the Egyptians were as primitive as we are told they were. No tool in use even today could recreate what was achieved back then, and allegedly all by hand.
Darkest universes in fiction, Iceberg explained. First up, we got Game of Thrones. This is a medieval-ish fantasy realm where there's different conflicts between royal families. The main conflict is about the Iron Throne, which is the seat of power that controls the main continent, Westeros. But in the universe, there's this evil supernatural force called the White Walkers, who essentially are a giant zombie plague that seem to be bringing like an ice age upon the land. Attack on Titan. This is a show about a society that is trapped behind a giant wall, and beyond the wall there are these giant humanoid creatures that eat humans. It's really terrible because their military is constantly going outside the wall to fight these things off, but every mission is a failure as they lose tons and tons of people, and there's a huge mystery on why they're trapped behind this giant wall and what are the giant humanoid things, and I really can't tell you more of the story without spoiling the entire thing. Warhammer 40k. Warhammer is set far in the future, roughly around the year 40,000, where everything is terrible and there's nothing but endless war. In the universe, humanity is spread throughout the galaxy, and they're constantly waging war on different alien factions while also fighting off these 4 evil godlike beings. And there's like a lot of cosmic horror. There's the godlike emperor called the Emperor of Mankind, and also instead of like jumping to light speed or like traveling really fast, they instead open up a portal to travel through hell whenever they want to go really far through space. So it's all very interesting. Berserk, this is another medieval world where humanity has suffered so much that they wanted to blame their suffering on something, and basically they manifest this thing called the God Hand. The God Hand is 5 powerful demonic entities that cause terrible events to happen to humanity, and the whole realm, I'm probably explaining it kind of bad because I don't know the story very well, but in the middle of the story there is Guts, who is the black swordsman, and he's basically a mercenary who is kind of the good guy in the story. The Road by Cormac McCarthy is a book that's centered around a man and his son who is just trying to survive in this post-apocalyptic world. The setting is in the United States, and they're basically traveling on a road down south trying to get to the ocean, and the world is just absolutely destroyed. Everything is ashes. There's almost no plant life anywhere. I think maybe they find mushrooms once, but that's like the only plants that are alive, and basically any person they meet is insane. And the people have this like blood cult thing where they're cannibals, and they have a whole bunch of like, they just do terrible things, and the world is so dark and it's so cold, and we never really learn what happened to cause this apocalypse, but we just know that there's no food, you can like never see the sun, all the plants are dead, and yeah, it's just a really interesting story, and it's a very symbolic story as well. Trench Crusade. So Trench Crusade is an alternate timeline to World War I, where in the world during the First Crusade in 1099 AD, the Knights Templar uncovered a demonic artifact in Jerusalem, and that artifact unleashed hell on Earth. So by 1914, the world was completely destroyed by this demonic artifact, and so the church is then waging an endless war upon these demonic forces. And yeah, it's very interesting. Basically all the artwork is insanely cool in my opinion, but it is very dark. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. This is a short story about an artificial intelligence gone rogue. In this story, all of humanity has died, and an all-powerful AI endlessly tortures the 5 remaining people on Earth. The setting is after World War III. During the war, different countries had created this AI to basically fight the other countries, and that AI, only knowing war and hatred and death, merged together and created this super intelligent AI being that calls itself Am, because I think, therefore I am. Anyways, the AI is very evil, and he's taking it out on the 5 remaining humans, and it is a very strange story because he like traps them in this world, kind of like a simulation. They're stuck, I think, inside the embowelments of the AI computer thing, and they're constantly trying to, I don't know, get out or something, but they never can, and it's just constantly torturing them and like tricking them into thinking something's happening when it's not, and then eventually they get turned into these different creatures. Speaking of getting turned into different creatures, we have All Tomorrows. All Tomorrows is basically a speculation for what humans would evolve into in the future. Basically, humanity is discovered by this very evil but extremely powerful civilization called the Q. And the Q is this alien species that has this weird religious motivation to remake the universe through genetic engineering. But humanity obviously doesn't want to get turned into something else, so they wage war on them, where the Q instantly win because they're like godlike compared to humans at this point. And then as punishment, the Q bioengineer the humans into a range of exotic forms, and luckily some of them are unintelligent. But then after ruling over the humans for 40 million years, the Q leave, leaving the altered humans to evolve in their own spaces. The story is then mainly about these altered humans and what they end up doing, and it's a very strange story as well. Anyways, thank you guys for watching another video about these very strange topics. But if you want to see more like this, I'm doing more on YouTube, so go check that out at Psychopoly on YouTube. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Fiction often reflects our fears or desires depending on how you look at it, I suppose. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you got this far, please comment in the comments section something like, well, I made it to the end, just so I know that you're still a human being. And if you want to show some support for enjoying the video, drop a like on it. It helps more than you realize. And if you want to take your support one step further, please consider sharing this video on your own social media. It helps us to expand the Awakened family. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and stay curious. Until next time.